Hi there, I'm Unwise, and I'm back with another tiny tournament game from one of the first 3 rounds. This one was hosted by Alfred as Bardur, and his teammate Flame took Hudrick. I took Zabasi, and I have a reasonable spawn with good resources and a ruin. Nakride took Kiku, and he has some nice resources as well. I don't have a screenshot for turn 1, but Nakride advanced and found Bardur. I found my second village and began to move up towards Nakride, preparing for an eventual cannibalism play. Nakride got stars from me and hunting from Bardur, allowing him to level and take stars. I got fishing from him, letting me grab a whale in my new city and level it twice. I also found a third village for me behind Nakride's capital, which is a pretty rare find for a tiny map. Nakride begins to skirmish with Bardur, exchanging a warrior. I move on to the ruin and my third village, leaving us in a very solid position for the remainder of the game. Nakride continues to save and focus on containing Bardur, not allowing him to extend into the center of the map. I get population from the ruin, which adds the extra stars I need to get sailing and sneak a boat onto the water, capturing and leveling my third village as well. Nakride begins to get overwhelmed here, as Bardur has 2 villages to Nakride's 1, but he holds on and finally levels his capital yet again, taking population growth. I meet Bardur and get riding from him, and I decide that the best way forward is to make a giant on my second city to drop on Bardur. You can only see the edge of it in this screenshot, but I place the Park of Fortune in my third village, taking stars and allowing me to make more units. At this point, Nakride is completely overwhelmed, but he's done his job by keeping Bardur contained while I develop. Bardur sieges him, but I go ahead and break the siege with one of my own, as I might as well be the one to pop the giant on that city. I port my giant here as well, hoping that Bardur will leave his back city open. Before taking Nakride's capital, I quietly grab navigation and move my giant boat up, in the hopes that I can steal Bardur's second village with a giant. I also pop a giant on Nakride's capital after completing the cannibalism play. Bardur leaves his city open, and I slip my giant onto it. I also grab roads to speed up my giant on Nakride's capital and deliver the crushing blow. Nakride pops a giant on his capital, but it's too little too late. I get a battleship to hit his giant and kill off the rest of his units, so there's nothing more to be done here. He and his partner resign. You may notice that we never saw Hudrick in this game. Poor Flame was stuck on a one-city island, and he had a hell of a time getting off it. We had the upper hand from pretty early on here, so I can't feel too smug about this victory. That said, I do think Nakride did a superb job defending against a player with a 2-to-1 village advantage over him, which let me develop freely in the background. I also think the sneaky giant play was a cute way to end the game. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll be back with a new video in a couple of days.